This week's topic really, really hits home for me because it's a lesson that was really essential to my healing journey and the ability to release PMDD symptoms from my life. But it's also a pattern that is really easy for me to fall into. Today, I want to explore the question of how do I know when I know enough? When first got diagnosed with PMDD, I threw myself into the research, like down the forums and the Google rabbit hole, but also looking for any research papers and books and things that I could find on the menstrual cycle, on menstrual health, on just how it works, but also just holistic approaches to healing. A lot of this information was incredibly helpful. And if I hadn't looked for answers, I wouldn't be where I am today. So there were definitely lots and lots of ways where that information served me and got me where I am today. However, and this is a very, very big however, this behavior of constantly information seeking was not serving me. But what I realized is that for me, that information seeking was an act of self-soothing. It was a behavior and a pattern that I fell into when I was dysregulated. And this is very much a behavior and a way of doing things that's encouraged by our Western society to be constantly consuming information. And for me, it felt like as long as I could find another article or another tip or another perspective, that there was hope that an answer was out there. And when we talk about PMDD, there's no cap on how long you can look for and search for and try all kinds of things out because there aren't definitive answers. We don't have the body of research yet to point us in any super clear direction. And so you can just keep going and keep searching and keep looking and keep hearing everyone's, personal experience and trying what this person did or that person did. And it just, is this never ending rabbit hole. But for me, the operative word in all of this was that I was finding safety and security in this hope that the answer was out there, was outside of me, was somewhere. And if I just looked long enough, if I just did another search, I was bound to come across the answer. And so this behavior was an outlet for that dysregulation. And there were definitely nuggets in there, right? It put me on the path. So again, it's recognizing that the information itself can be serving me, but the behavior was not. And it was making me more anxious, more scattered, more perfectionistic, to the point where I really felt like if I wasn't doing all the things, and if I wasn't doing all the things perfectly, then I might as well do nothing. What's the point? It will only work if I do it all and I do it to the letter. And so there's so much value in finding a balance between engaging with new information, especially as new research comes out and new information about PMDD gets out there, right? We're not just saying okay, I'm just never going to look up anything again, right? There's this balance of being open to and seeking new information with this honoring and truly caring for the version of yourself that exists right now, right here, in this moment, in this space, and being in tune with what she needs right now in this moment. Because there's going to be moments where there is that intuitive nudge or that pull to search something else out, to try something new, to add something into the regimen. And then there's times where we're adding things out of this dysregulation of I can't live like this anymore. What if this never ends? There's got to be a solution. I'm just going to throw everything at the problem. And so how do we find this balance? How do we figure out which of these steps we need in this moment? And the practice that has been so helpful for me in identifying, is this a moment where I need more support, where I need to reach out to person, practitioner, or, or doing research to find more information? Or am I in a place where I just need to be present with myself? And I just need to be okay with where things are at right now. And that practice is self-acceptance. Because when we're constantly striving for new knowledge, new solutions, we're constantly sending our body this message that it will be good enough, that it will be lovable, it'll be worthy once it is better, and better often means perfect. But this sort of lens that there's a destination, that you'll arrive and you won't have any more problems and nothing else will feel bad ever again, like that's not real. It's not about where we get to, it's how we learn to get there. And I think this concept that there's no real arriving is especially true for women because we go through so many changes in our life. Even if you have regular and consistent cycles, the whole point is that you're going through these different seasons. It is a cycle. There's different moments and there's different quality of time and experience that come with each of those phases. It's not static. And so we are continually revisiting these same moments, these same lessons, and we're being invited to go deeper and learn, like, how are we showing up different? How is this different than the last time I was in this moment? Am I handling it different? Is something new coming up? Is more capacity here? But then beyond that, it's like after you finally maybe feel settled in your cycle, then perimenopause comes and we're exiting this, and there's this flux, this very large transitory window of our life where the anchors are less consistent. And so we're invited to find out, like, where do we find these anchors within ourselves when that cycle is not as consistent? And then we're, in menopause, and it's like, okay, now there's no cycle anymore. And so who is this version of ourselves, and where are anchors here? So we have this constant movement and change. And so really the goal here is, how do we learn to be with ourselves? And this is why I find so much value in this work, even if you found that there's been almost like a quick pill solution for you. Like maybe you have found an antidepressant that really works for you, or you found that taking an antihistamine does wonders for your mood and for the stability of it across the month. Like, that's amazing and that's fantastic. Also, this is not the static version of us, right? We're going to go through all of these changes. And with that, there's going to be changes in our body and our hormones, and learning to be present with ourselves and accept every version, not just the version of ourselves that feels acceptable, is so incredibly valuable. And this is why I'm an embodiment first coach rather than being a lifestyle first coach, because we can't wait to start living until we've quote unquote arrived. When we're embodiment first, when we're checking in with our experience, we're allowing ourselves to have access to breaks, to pauses from doing the work, because healing is a lot of work. It's a lot of attention. It's a lot of awareness. It's a lot of presence with hard things. And it's okay to take breaks from that. It's okay to not constantly be in the weeds and in the mud of it, because we can very easily make healing another form of burnout, where we just go and we go and go until our body doesn't have anything left. And this self-acceptance and this presence with ourselves also has the benefit of helping us to navigate, what are we responding to? What are the solutions or the ideas that we're hearing about that are resonating with your experience of PMDD in this specific moment and season in your life? Because you can hear such a variety of experiences with the very same thing. People will take a specific medication and it will be like the answer, the holy grail that saved them. And other people will take it and be like, everything was worse. This is just the worst medication I've ever been on. This is the worst thing. Like, then you can have people being like, I changed my lifestyle and I started working out and now everything is okay again. And other people are like, I have tried everything and nothing works, right? So you get this broad spectrum of what is working for certain people. And it's like, how do you decide what to try? How long do you decide to try it? How do you know if it is working or if it isn't working for your body? When we're present with this version and when she's a part of the conversation, we're able to engage with these ideas and with information from an embodied place, from working with our body as opposed to doing things to our body. Because just because something is good doesn't mean it's good for you right now. This was my experience for so long with exercise, where it was a good thing, objectively good. It's great for you, it's great for your body. And yet, it was applying such an intense level of external stress to my body, external and internal, that it was shutting me down. And so I was not at a place where that was good for me in that moment. I had to build up some safety and some presence with my body before it felt safe to push myself in that specific way. And so I find for myself that it's time to do a little bit more research when I feel a consistent question or problem emerging. And very importantly, I have the capacity to integrate. And that search for information is not coming from a frenetic place of I need these answers in order to be okay. And so this week I want to invite you to reflect a little bit on if there's an area in your life that's asking you to close down the tabs and just to turn your attention to accepting and caring for the body that you have now, for the version of you that is here today. And as you do that, reflecting on what does that feel like in your body to be ready for more information, and what does it feel like when it's coming from this place of self-soothing and trying to soothe this regulation versus actually opening and expanding you.